Hello everyone, I am Shio Gang. In this lesson, we are going to talk about containers in Unreal Engine. The simplest container in Unreal is TLA. One of its features is that its underlying structure is a dynamic array. Like tman and t-et, they are all homogeneous containers, meaning the elements inside them are all of the same type. The two most important definitions are the element type and an optional allocator. Element type refers to what you are storing. The type allocator we often omit it. You can actually modify its default allocator. The allocator mainly determines how it expands and allocates elements. You can then write your own allocator. What you need to pay attention to is that when using TLA, do not use a delay node to create and consume TLA instances. If they are simultaneous. Here are a few simple examples of your TLV. If there are two TLVs, both of them are loaded. In the case of Intel 312, they actually each retain a copy. This kind of numeric object, deleting the first number, does not affect the elements in the second number. Deletion and destruction. Of course, when the first number is destroyed, these stored in the first number, the data types will naturally disappear. And when the situation is more complex, if you stored a UOPE, get a new pointer, or when it's a smart pointer, note that what you are destroying is this pointer, not the object pointed to by the pointer, specifically the object pointed to by this pointer. Whether it will be destroyed depends on whether it has been referenced elsewhere, if it is effectively referenced. Okay, so next we will look at how to create and populate this number. First, we need to create a folder. Right, we will first create our file. So similarly, we will add a new class in this location. We'll call it excavator. Similarly, we put it into an away folder. Then we make it refresh the project. We let it reload. Okay, and we have finished the demonstration here. Then we open the actor that we have already created, right? So we'll also start writing our method. So at this point, we'll use what we just learned before. This method testing, we call it Init here. We need to test it. We just need to put it into the blueprint. Okay, we call it board to print whiteboard, and now let's create its implementation. Okay, so what data should we declare here? Let's attach it here. We call it inter1, interpore. Okay, so we have two intersensors in the forest to process this. One of its elements what are these two? It's actually the current host element and the size it occupies, because it is a template method, actually regardless of what type exists. It actually has this. Then we continue with this array. Perform a simple initialization. We can use init. Then at this place we set its default element to 10. We initialize with 5. Then we can also initialize it this way. So in that case, we initialize it like this. We give it inua 3 su u le. Okay, give it 6 elements. Actually, what this part means is after this number is determined, it will be equal to this number. It should mean that, so we can use a boolean b equals, let's see if this number equals it, equals. It seems he cannot write it this way, although it might just be a poetic observation, regardless of him. Then we retrieve its number and always size here again. Okay, so let's start testing it now. Okay, so in this place, first, we need to create a subclass of it. We call it pp-arrayact. We can remove the prefix and put it into an array. Okay, let's first put it here. And note that I created an empty map here. An empty map, and then I put a level here. Then we take this level as the control map and specify it into our game map. Then let our editor and this game defaults. We all start from this map because we have many maps. If you don't specify, it's quite troublesome to reopen a level every time. Okay, after this level, we drag this object into the scene. Then, inside its begin play, we call init. So now we will set the breakpoints. This makes it very convenient for everyone to view. Okay, note that we are starting this using the DebugGame Editor mode, because if you use development, then this variable gets optimized and you won't be able to see it. Okay, we have now initialized two tier vids. They're empty ones. Its lumper and size are both empty. You can see it here. Then we continue going down. 5 elements have been initialized here. Each element is 10. We can see it. Okay, because you need to acquire this. Place again, because it changed. Then you can see that it has actually become like this. Next, we will use the second output method. You can see that it is 6 over there. The max is also 6. And then you can acquire it again. You see that there are 5 elements here, and this size is 24. Because we know that in Intel 32, it is an integer value that occupies 4 bytes. So the memory space it currently occupies is 20. Oh, so this is creating a number